Hello everybody, my name is Leo and in this video we share how to recreate the tone of the one and only Pat Metheny both for the clean tones and the synth ones, using the Neural DSP Quad Cortex and the Boss SY-1. First of all, we will hear a demo song hearing both the clean and the synth tones. Then I will explain how I have created these tones, showing you both the settings of the Quad Cortex and of the Boss. And finally, I will give you my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoy and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, as it would really help me to make more videos like this. Before beginning with the demo song, let me say that Pat has changed a lot his tone over the years. So I've tried to create something in between the tone he has used in his first album and the one he has used in his CD Travels, which I really love. Let's start! Let's share how I've built up the synth and the clean tones, starting from the synth one. First of all, I have inserted the SY in the loop of the Quad Cortex, and I have created a patch in the Quad Cortex dedicated to the synth sound. The setting of the SY1 are the followings. The type is LED, the variation is 1, the depth is just after the middle and the rate is almost at 11 o'clock. And finally I have the direct tone of the guitar set to 0 and the synth sound at its maximum level. Pretty simple settings, I would say. Now, coming to the Quad Cortex, I have created a specific patch with the compressor, the loop in which is connected the boss, a chorus, a delay and a reverb, so a pretty standard patch. In my opinion, you can set the chorus, delay and reverbs as you want, and the most important thing of this patch is actually the compressor. This one here. I've used a solid state comp with a pretty fast attack at 2.3 milliseconds, and I release a slight makeup, and the ratio is at 4, threshold minus 40 dBs. The compressor is very important, especially with an archtop guitar like my ES-175. In fact, this guitar is incredibly reactive to your touch, and you can obtain a pretty big excursion of volume according to your touch, which is obviously great if you are using a standard amp, but it is not so great if you are going into a synth like in this case, as these excursions of levels are somehow a problem to be managed by the Boss synthesizer. In fact, if you push too much the SY, you almost get distorted tones, and if you play softly, the sound almost disappears. Therefore, the compressor is very useful to even out the sound, to guarantee that it is homogeneous so that the synth sound does not disappear or get too loud. I mean, I started playing the synth without the compressor, and I was really struggling. Basically, I was not able to play comfortably because I had to pay too much attention to my pick. Then, after I switched on the compressor, the problems were solved. I was able to play really comfortably, and actually I had a lot of fun. So the compressor here is really important as it smooths out the notes so that the SY-1 can digest these notes pretty easily, or more easily than without it. This is the loop where the SY is connected. This is the chorus I've used. I've used a vintage chorus with these settings. Then I've used a tape delay, and finally an all reverb. Now let's come to the clean tones, and in order to build it up, let's read together this post, which was actually written by Pat himself, answering a question about his tone. I used an acoustic 134 model amp for 20 years, from 1974 to 1994. The amp had the sound for me. Flat, kind of mid-rangey, bright but mellow and loud, without any distortion. A hard combination of things to find in one place. I knew there were new things out there, and so I started trying everything. I finally settled on a Digitech 2101 DSP guitar preamp. With it I could get the sound and some cool bells and whistles too, mainly pre-programmability. The output of the Digitech is run into two Lexicon prime-time digital delay lines, one on my left at 14 millisecond delay, one on my right at 26 millisecond delay. Each delay has a very slight pitch bend controlled by the VCO sine wave inside the prime time. This is what gives it the chorused thing that I guess I would have to say I was the first to use extensively in jazz, and that seems to have influenced a lot of other guys to do the same. I hate the way chorus boxes sound. My sound is mostly the straight 1-2-3 Digitech line, which is behind me with no pitch bend, which gets blended in the air with the two discrete delay pitch bends, which are much softer than the straight amp volume, to get a bigger sound. Also, I forget one thing. I always have a slight 450-500 millisecond delay mixed in the right of the guitar too. So actually Pat is using three lines of sound. A left line with 14 milliseconds of delay, a right line with 26 seconds of delay, and a center line with just the amp. So that's what I did in the Quad Cortex. First of all, let me say that I should have split the guitar sound in 3 paths, but as far as I know, there is not a 3-way splitter. As you can see here, we have this splitter at our disposal that are only 2-way splitter. So I have split the guitar in 2 after the amp, and on the left I've put 1 delay and then the cab, the left delay. On the other part I've inserted the right delay, and then feeded still by the same input I've used a straight line with just the amp and the cab. Let's now take a look at the effects. First of all, the delay. As you can see here, I've used a tape delay in mono, 100% mix, so no direct signal here, only the delay, 0% feedback, a slightly low high pass and low pass filters. The delay time is 12 milliseconds. It should have been at 14, but unfortunately, as you can see here, Quad Cortex is offering me 12 or 15 and not 14, which is a kind of a bummer, honestly. Then I have this WOW and flutter at 25% to try to imitate that VCO pitch bend to which was referring Pat previously, at least in my intentions. Basically, I did the same thing on the right side, just changing the delay time. Here with the same problem, I was not able to fix it at 26 as the Quad Cortex jumps from 24 to 28. Then here, as Pat was saying, I have also added a digital delay at 500 milliseconds. Now, as regards the amp used by Pat are not available in the Quad Cortex, but I've used the amp which is more similar to them in my opinion, which is a Roland JC120, which is called Rolls Jazz CH120. These are the settings. I've used its cab with 2 mics, an SM57 and a Ribbon 160 with these settings. So this is basically all. Final considerations here. Well, I think that the synth tone was pretty accurate and the clean a little bit less. Basically for 3 reasons. The first one, and more important, is that I'm not picking like Pat, who has a very specific position of the right hand, and of course he is using the side of the pick, so he's using the side of the pick and not the proper position, I would say, taking the pick in this way. And the position is something like that, where I'm using something like that, so I have the pick a tiny bit more inclined against the string than Pat, which is more parallel to the string, I think, and this of course has an impact in the sound. The second reason is that I'm not replicating the exact same amp used by Pat. In fact, in the Quad Cortex there is not a model of the acoustic or of the Digitech preamp. The third reason is that Pat's sound has evolved a lot during the years. For instance, the sound of his debut album Bright Side's Life is very different from the one of We Live Here. The sound I had in mind for this test was actually a mix between his early albums and the one of his live CD Travels, which I really love. With that clarity of the first albums and that cool chorus-like tone that he was using in the CD Travels. That, as Pat said in his post, is actually his invention and something that a lot of other guitarists has copied after Pat. Now, even if I was not able to accurately recreate the sound, I think that I have at least recreated the flavor. I mean, the tone I came up was really inspiring me to play in the style of Pat and inspired me to be creative writing some music. And lastly, and most important, I had a lot of fun with this tone. So that's basically all. And now let me please know your opinion in the comment section below, and also if you like these types of videos and you want more of them. And which is the tone you would like me to recreate? Which is the guitarist tone you would like me to recreate? We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and leave a thumbs up. It would be of a great help. And of course, you won't miss my future videos. If you're interested in my IRs or in my camper profiles, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to a playlist of songs of mine. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video, bye bye.